That stuff for after is already right.
Holiday cards, what are those?
The ones that the
Choose your spot. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our service from the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm Elaine Apthorpe, your quasi-worship liaison this morning. I am on the welcome team and the worship committee and the coordinating council and the choir. I only do bottom floor windows. I don't do the upper floor. Can't reach it. If you're new or returning after a time away, we're very glad to see you. We're actually glad to see everybody, but especially glad to see you if you're new or returning from a time away. Please feel free to fill out a blue welcome card. You'll find those in the pews. And you can put those in the offering plate later in the service if you would like information and for us to be able to be in touch. There's a link to an online version of that blue card that's in the chat for those of you on Zoom. We'll put you on our email list so you can receive information about all that we do. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and we are guided and inspired by its values and principles. Our values and principles move us to remember that those of us in the Connecticut River Valley today live on unceded homeland of the Pecumtuck, Nonotuck, and Western Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge our responsibility to confront the legacies of dispossession and systemic racism that are part of our collective history, and we affirm and celebrate the many legacies that inspire us. We have drawing materials and other ways to occupy hands on the tables in back. Restrooms are downstairs and are reached through either one of these doors. You can either take the stairs or an elevator, and return the same way. Good morning. After the service, everyone is invited to come downstairs for social hour hosted by the Newcomer Connections team. There will be a spiritual discussion on the theme of repair in the Sojourner Truth room, again downstairs, at 11:30. We had a wonderful, lively mob scene at the Newcomers Breakfast this morning downstairs, and there was quite a feast. And we welcomed 6 new members this morning who signed the book. And that membership book will be open throughout social hour following the service. A couple other really pertinent announcements. We are going to have our annual hymn sing on December 29th. And for that hymn sing, we want to get a nice full congregational vote on which hymns you'd most like to sing. And there's a link to let us know your favorites. That's in the Sunday Times, it's in the Beacon, I believe, and we need that by November 29th. So if you haven't already told us what you'd most like to sing on the 29th, do let us know on this 29th, end of this coming week. We also have holiday cards that our kids make every year and donate as a fundraiser. If you check in the Sunday Times, there's an order link there and on our website. We are here to celebrate, to reflect, and to support one another. It's so good to be together. And now we'll begin our service.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Harwood, and I'm the Director of Faith Development and Community Engagement here at the Unitarian Society of Northampton in Florence. Our service this morning may be a little unconventional. We're going to weave together the monthly theme of repair with the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. We're going to connect our own brokenness to the brokenness of our world. There's so much that needs repair right now, including maybe even our own hearts. Sometimes it feels overwhelming, but there's also a way that repair and acknowledgement of brokenness is vital and can maybe even be beautiful. Kintsugi is a Japanese art form that takes broken parts of pots and repairs them with gold paint and glue and highlights the cracks. There's some pictures up on the screen. Kintsugi reminds us that healing can bring about something even better. Leonard Cohen wrote that the cracks are where the light gets in. The things that feel broken in ourselves and in the world might actually be the places where the greatest transformation, growth, and hope lie. What if the act of owning our brokenness and working to repair it is actually more important than getting it right the first time? Today, I invite each of us and all of our broken parts to consider our commitment to repair as both a spiritual and a social justice practice. As we look ahead to Thanksgiving and to the next 4 years, we have the opportunity to return to repair over and over, and hopefully create something more just, more honest, and more beautiful. For people who like to use their hands as part of a contemplative practice, you heard already that there's items at the entrance. There are puzzles. So if you would like to create a puzzle today, you can use some crayons or some colored pencils. And during the service, you're welcome to take your puzzle, break it apart once you've drawn on it, put it in a bag and hand it to somebody else to repair the puzzle you've made. As you can tell, we're going to think about repair in a lot of different ways this morning. And I invite you all to rise in body or spirit to help with reading our chalice lighting, which is in your programs and will be on the screen. And then you can remain standing if you are standing for our first hymn. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. Bring them with you, and your joy, and your courage, and your conviction. Bring your need for healing, and your powers to heal. And the first hymn is number 188 in the gray hymnal, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
We'll be doing this song as a round, and we'll have a leader for each of the 4 sections. That will be one over there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do the song all together, and then do it as a round twice. Rebecca, I was so excited to show you this bowl, but I broke it. Now I'm feeling really upset. Can we try to fix it?
I didn't break it.
I know you didn't break it, but can you help me fix it anyway?
I just need you to understand that I'm a good person and I don't go around breaking things.
Okay, I know that you're a good person, but it's important to me that maybe we could work together to figure out how to fix the bowl. It meant a lot to me.
Okay, I agree. Does everybody else agree we should fix the bowl? Yeah? Okay. Any ideas, kids? What do we use? Glue? Chewing gum? No? Tape? Oh.
Oh wait, I have an idea. I think I actually just mentioned it. It's called kintsugi.
Wait, what's kintsugi?
Kintsugi is an ancient Japanese art form that repairs broken pottery and ceramics. So the way it works is they use gold and then they use glue and then gold paint to highlight the beauty of the imperfections.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that you're not trying to hide the broken parts. Is that right?
That's right. The gold is used to remind the user over and over that something that was once broken is whole again and has a different kind of beauty.
So I guess that makes me wonder if it can apply to other things that are broken.
What kinds of things?
Well, like relationships, like friendships. Sometimes we hurt each other's feelings, and it's like the thread between us breaks. But as Unitarian Universalists, I think we have to we can't ignore that. We have to try to rebuild the relationship so it's stronger than before.
I agree. The work of healing is all of our jobs, no matter how big or how small or how difficult. And when we repair our mistakes with love and with our covenant, we remember that our relationships are more beautiful once we've acknowledged hurt, asked for forgiveness, corrected our mistakes, and made a sacred promise to do better in the future.
So it also makes me wonder how we can heal relationships with people we don't even know. People who were harmed by injustice or unfair treatment or oppression or prejudice. When I think about the Thanksgiving holiday, it reminds me of the unfair ways that we treated Indigenous people.
And that we still do today. Yeah, it's helpful for me to remember that when something is broken, we can't ignore it and throw it away. I mean, it would have been a lot easier to throw out that pot, but I think if we can work to repair it, we'll make something even more beautiful. It's not going to be easy and it's not going to be quick.
Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm Reverend Eric Cherry, serving as your interim minister, and I have the tiniest bit of this wonderful service to share with you this morning. Grateful thanks to Jessica for arranging a beautiful morning for all of us together. I want to let you know that it's now time for greeting each other. So if you would please take a moment to find your nearest neighbors and extend a warm hand of friendship and a hello to each other, that would be wonderful. And for those of you who are on Zoom, please take a moment to turn on your videos, wave and say hi to each other in the chat. And if you're in the hall, you can wave to the camera to say hi to the folks who are on Zoom. And I want to say good morning to each of you who are joining us on Zoom. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Arlene. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Ed. and Fran and Georgia and Ginny. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Laura S. Good morning, Lillian and Linda Rose. Good morning, Marianne and Mike. Good morning, Naomi and Rich and Rick. Good morning, Sally. Good morning, Sally. And good morning, Amanda. Isn't it good to see one another? Isn't it good to be together across the miles, across the distance, immeasurably near to each other, regardless of location? What a joy and what a gift. And I would invite those who are on Zoom to please turn your cameras off again and perhaps select gallery view. And now we have a word of social justice.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sherry Hall-Smith, and I'm a member of the Racial Justice team. So the Social Justice Minute this morning is actually an anniversary minute. Our congregation is having a big anniversary coming up this year, and so we're talking about the history of various types of social action at the society. And this morning I'm going to talk about the history of racial justice in our congregation. Our congregation has a long history of engaging with racial justice issues. This work is essential because of the history of injustice in our country that continues today. The entire nation benefited from the economic effects of slavery, and some may be surprised to learn that people were enslaved in the North, including Northampton and surrounding towns. In 1842, a utopian society, the Northampton Association of Education and Industry, was established in Florence. The abolition cause was central to their identity. After it dissolved, some of the members went on to found the Free Congregational Society of Florence, which became one of the congregations that merged in 1944 to form the present Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. Our white privilege has allowed our congregation's active work on racial justice to ebb and flow over the years, depending on internal, societal, and denominational circumstances. In the mid-1990s, the congregation became involved in the Unitarian Universalist Association's initiative called Journey Towards Wholeness, although the name was changed to Journey Towards Racial Justice at our society. The congregation engaged in some activities similar to the more recent racial justice work of the society, inviting the congregation into reflection and activities, such as creating a congregational timeline related to racism and racial justice, listening circles, book groups, film showings, and a multiracial family group. The Journey Toward Racial Justice group partnered with Amherst and Greenfield congregations on racial justice workshops and films. When the group ended, any remaining racial justice activities were folded into the congregation's overall social justice efforts. In 2019, Reverend Janet Bush spearheaded the formation of the current racial justice team. Since then, this team has held book groups, film nights, podcast listening groups, and other activities, all related to increasing our awareness of the many facets of racial injustice in this country and the impact on our own lives. In 2021 and 2022, we formed a subcommittee to look in depth at the UUA's Widening the Circle of Concern report, and held monthly listening circles on different chapters of that report. In 2022 and 2023, we centered our work on learning about the proposed 8th principle and how our congregation could prepare to both adopt it and live into the commitment to anti-racism and beloved community. We adopted the 8th principle at our annual meeting on May 21st, 2023, and have continued as a congregation to actively weave anti-racism work into what we do. Last February, we invited Dr. David Ragland to preach and hold a follow-up discussion on reparations. We co-sponsored the historic Northampton book discussion of Husband, Wife, Master, Slave, and then in April, held a film showing of The Cost of Inheritance with a lively discussion of reparations after the film. We have also collaborated with both USNF The Vote and the Climate Action Group on work that intersects with racial justice. And the work continues. The need is still great. Unfortunately, white supremacy culture remains alive and well in our country, as clearly seen during the recent election. The Racial Justice Team is open to all and meets on Zoom the third Wednesday of the month. On December 7th, we are excited to co-sponsor a reparations film festival with Dr. David Ragland and the Truth Telling Project. Please join us for the showing of the film Acts of Reparation and the discussion that follows. Details are in the Sunday Times and Beacon, and we hope to see many of you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. 200 years of engagement on a central issue, and so much of the work still before us. Work that is the faithful work of repair. And in that spirit, I'd invite you to join me in a time of centeredness and quiet, of reflection, and reaching out in care and empathy to ourselves and to the world. The work of repair is the work of faith, and it is ever before us. May we come to feel the invitation to that work as a gift, not as a disappointment, as an invitation, not an obstacle, as a path toward living fully and mindfully and heartfully in a world where brokenness is the rule more than the exception, in which much needs to be broken up, to be broken through, to be broken open, and in which much needs to be repaired, reassembled, reimagined, reconnected, redesigned. With kindness, empathy, and hope, we seek to travel through this complex reality of breaking and repairing as a spiritual process, growing ever in our ability to avoid injury to self and others along the way, but always seeking the ever hopeful gifts of the Spirit that help us find a path toward healing and beauty along the repair highway. May it be a path toward an unexpected dawn, to a sun peeking over a distant horizon in our lives, in our community, ever and always together. May it be so. And this morning, we recognize the reality of brokenness and the need sometimes to break through with a ritual. And in the midst of it, we also acknowledge that sometimes we are full of unrestrained rage that needs release, and sometimes we need to feel that reality in safety without causing injury to others. And sometimes we simply need to feel and know that breaking open is possible together. And so if you'd like to experience the ritual of breaking, I'm going to ask Jessica to invite you forward, and Jessica is going to provide instructions for this ritual of breaking open and understanding the process. So Jessica.
All right, you may be wondering what we're talking about. So I have a few helpers that are coming up to set up 4 stations for breaking some pottery. So if you would like to have that experience, there will be 2 stations down on the ground, and then there will be 2 stations higher up on the edge of the chancel. Hold on, Patty. So if you would like to, you can choose one of these stations, and we'll just invite you to come and hit whatever it is once. You are welcome to just sit in the quiet, because there's a lot of rumblings right now, but hopefully we'll have this moment of reflection, where if you would like to have that experience, you come up, have a chance to hit it, and then sit down. You may just want to sit and feel whatever feelings are coming up for you from the meditation that Eric just led us in. You may want to listen to the sounds that come, and that's the plan. So we're going to try something very different, as I mentioned. So I think what I'll do is, I think, would you mind playing through this part? And we'll just ask for people to come up quietly to do this, if you want. You're welcome. I see some very unhappy faces. Please don't participate if you don't want to. And you may begin.
So we have one more minute this morning before the offering. I've been asked to deliver this minute as a representative of the President's team. I'm Kate Krokemeyer. Beloved congregation, our new political reality has opened up many opportunities, welcome or not, to lean into our values. During the previous Trump administration, one of the ways we lived our values here was by providing physical sanctuary from deportation to our friend Irida in our church building. We took this extraordinary step only after a deliberate period of discernment with the entire congregation. Since 2020, we've continued our sanctuary work in other ways, including through continued support of Irida and her business, and through our emerging work now with relocation support for internally displaced trans people and their families. This second type of sanctuary work is becoming increasingly vital, and we are looking for volunteers, donations, and temporary housing hosts. It is clear that come January 20th, what we are called to do is likely to change again very quickly. We are re-entering a period of discernment on this issue. Reverend Eric is already in conversation with the network of area clergy and immigration organizations. The President's team is gathering insights and lessons learned from our prior sanctuary team leaders. No decisions have been made. The entire congregation will be part of this discernment process. One thing we know is that 2025 will likely require different strategies than what worked in 2017. This time, church buildings are unlikely to be shielded from immigration enforcement actions. We may be mobilizing in a very different way, but our efforts will surely still be needed. This process is likely to evolve rapidly over the next 2 months. We will be asking for your input, support, patience, and determination as we approach this needful work together. And now, we'll call for the offering. Our generosity makes everything we do possible, and it helps us support organizations and movements in the greater community. Half of the proceeds of each week's offering support the Society's operating budget, and half are shared outside our walls. The slide will probably at some point show you who we share it with. You may mail in a check, donate online, or put your contribution in one of the plates that the ushers will pass. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
And now we have a picture book. The story of Thanksgiving leads out a lot of the story of what happened with the colonists and the indigenous people. The real story is much sadder, and in fact, as many of you know, some people call Thanksgiving a day of mourning and use it as a protest of the oppression and racism that Native Americans have experienced and continue to experience today. Just like the broken plates, we could throw out the holiday, but instead, we could tell the real story, and maybe in so doing, help to repair some of the damage. James Loewen, the author of Lies My Teacher Told Me, said, "The antidote to feel-good history is not feel-bad history, but honest and inclusive history." This Land, The History of the Land, by Anishinaabe artist and writer Ashley Fairbanks, tells an honest story of how Indigenous people have been displaced. As Fairbanks says, when we learn about the history of the land we live on, we begin to heal the wounds of the past. And I'm going to read it from here. If you'd like to get a little closer, you're welcome to, but the slides will also be on the screen. This land. This is my house, where I live with my family. Before us, another family lived here. Before that, another family lived here too, and another, and another. Before our house was here, there was another family with a different kind of house, a wigwam. There was a whole village full of families, laughing, cooking, and playing. There were even annoying little brothers. But when people came here from Europe, they forced most of those families to leave their homes. All across the country, Native Americans had to leave everything they knew and move into small pieces of land called reservations. But despite everything done to them, many Native American people still live in my city today. Like my friend TJ, he's Anishinaabe, and he lives with his grandma. TJ's grandma Noko taught me that before my ancestors arrived, this land was filled with Indigenous people from coast to coast. I wonder if all of them made food as good as she does. Noko taught us a song to help us remember that Indigenous people have always been here, and they're still here, wherever we go. And the song goes, "This land is sacred. This land is living. From the Black Hills to Pueblo Canyon, from the swampy bayous to the salmon swimming, this land all has a history." Now, whenever my family goes somewhere, I ask who lived here before the people who lived here now? And you can see out the window, she's imagining an Indigenous brother and sister a long, long time ago. At the Grand Canyon, I learned that 8 tribes call it home. The Havasupai, the Yavapai, Paiute, Hopi, Zuni, Hualapai, Apache, and Diné. Their relatives have lived here longer than anyone can remember, even the really old people. At the Golden Gate Bridge, I learned that the Ohlone have been fishing here for thousands of years. In New York City, I learned that the Lenape were here long before all the skyscrapers. And everywhere we go, there are Indigenous people to learn from. So I keep singing, "This land is sacred, this land is living." This land all has a history, even in my backyard. So this is just a piece of the story, and it's important that we continue to learn about the land that we live on and find ways to maybe make reparations to the Nonotuck, Nipmuc, and Pecumtuck people. We can't fix this damage, but we cannot ignore it, and maybe we can figure out a few small, beautiful repairs in authentic relationship.
Good morning. The choir will be singing, but we invite you to join in. This is a call and response. You don't need anything for it. But you are welcome to stand and sing and dance as the Spirit moves you. Don't all get up at once. We'll inspire you, okay? It's up to us to inspire you to get up, right? Forget your perfect offering. Forget your perfect offering. Just sing the songs that you can sing. Just sing the songs that you can sing. There is a crack in everything. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. Forget your perfect offering. Forget your perfect offering. Just sing the song that you can sing. Just sing the song that you can sing. There is a crack in everything. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. Forget your perfect offering. Forget your perfect offering. Just sing the songs that you can sing. Just sing the song that you can sing. There is a crack in everything. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. Forget your perfect offering. Forget your perfect offering. Just sing the songs that you can sing. Just sing the song that you can sing. There is a crack in everything. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in.
Thank you all for that. So I have a very clear memory from when I was in kindergarten. I was at a friend's house and she had this brand new pencil she was really excited about. It was sparkly and I think there was some big eraser on the back. And when she was in the bathroom, I tried it out and I broke the tip of the pencil. So I hid it. And the memory is I climbed somewhere high to put it on a tall piece of furniture. And it's so silly because again. But in the moment, I was so mortified. And I don't know what happened when she came back, if she was looking for it. That part is not part of the memory. The memory is I broke it and I hid it. And there's so many times in my life where I have done that exact thing. I've hidden my mistake. I've been so embarrassed by a harm that I've caused that I don't want to talk about it, even if it might be obvious to everyone else. Or maybe people don't notice the mistake, but all I'm doing is thinking about it over and over again. And I get really stuck. That's the only explanation I have for why I can actually remember this 40-year-old memory. But these are the same reactions that I have when I consider the legacy of white supremacy culture, of racism and oppression that I'm complicit in as a white person of privilege. I feel awful and I don't know what to do and I get stuck. But when I've been able to talk about mistakes or harm or racism, just the act of telling the truth starts to shift things. And then I can truly apologize and think about how to repair the damage. It's often messy, and I can feel myself growing and transforming. And I notice my relationships healing and strengthening. I don't have the answers about how to do the repair or about reparations. I know that a good apology involves acknowledging what went wrong, owning your responsibility, and then working together to repair the damage. It's hard work and it takes a lot of time. Kintsugi also is a very slow process. You clean the edges meticulously, glue the pieces back together, and then add the gold to highlight the break. It takes patience. Forget your perfect offering. Just sing the song that you can sing. So maybe we can give up trying to get it right the first time, but bring our curiosity, our patience, our humility, and even our own individual creativity. We've all made mistakes. We are surrounded by mistakes. And maybe we can support one another to commit to repair, knowing that it can lead to transformation and create more beauty in the world. So let's do some repair together. We're not going to recreate the things that we broke. We're not going to heal our own wounds, but we can accept our brokenness and honor it. We can take care of ourselves and others. We're not going to heal the wounds of the past, but we can tell the true story and commit to doing better and making reparations. And maybe, just maybe, we can create something better. So each of us has something unique and special to give. And we'll invite you to bring that in a moment. We are going to create a mosaic together, something brand new out of the shards. We'll take the pieces that we made, along with the broken bits of ourselves in this very broken world, to create the mosaic. So if you'd like to participate in this element, when you come up, we'll have 2 lines, one on either side. You'll choose a piece that speaks to you. Be careful of sharp edges, and hold it for 1 moment before you put it in the mosaic. Take a moment to maybe make a wish for the hope for the healing of the world, for the healing for yourself or of a loved one, or maybe make a commitment to repair. And then you can place your piece into the mosaic mold. When you add your piece, notice what's come before, and perhaps, I don't know what we're gonna make, but I know that in this community, with everyone who is here, we are going to make something beautiful. So, with that, Jan and Mimi, do you mind helping bring it forward? And then if you'd like to help make the mosaic, you're welcome to come up.
Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be prepared. I know I'm scared. To be prepared. I know I'm scared. And I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be change is coming. I know what do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know yes, from brokenness there's hope. And I know change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know change is coming. I know from brokenness there's joy. I know change is coming. I know from brokenness there's joy. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be prepared. I know I'm scared. To be prepared. I know I'm scared. And I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be change is coming. I know what do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know yes, from brokenness there's hope. And I know change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know change is coming. I know from brokenness there's joy. I know change is coming. I know from brokenness there's joy. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. I know from brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? To be prepared. I know I'm scared. To be prepared. I know brokenness there's hope. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine?
From brokenness there's hope. I know. Yes, from brokenness there's hope. And I
Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine?
We never know how it's all going to work out, but you all have made two beautiful mosaics. We don't have a camera to show it, but they'll be here after the service, so please come up and take a look before you head down for social hour. We will soon be installing the little free library that the younger kids have built or designed, and I'm hoping that we can put the mosaics at the feet of this library. So thank you all for creating something very beautiful out of a lot of brokenness. Our closing words are from Rowan White, who's an Indigenous seed steward from the Mohawk or Kanien'kehá:ka people. She wrote, "Our ancestors survived. We will survive and thrive. It's time to stand with our own 2 feet on the sacred Mother Earth beneath our feet, and use this grief and these rivers of tears that flow like springs from our eyes as a catalyst. Now is the time we have to compost these past failures. The light gets in through the cracks. I'm not going anywhere. I am keeping my hands and heart and feet firmly planted in the soil of my ancestors, this magnificent Turtle Island, finding hope in the despair. Seeds know what it's like to be in dark soil, to come completely undone in order to become something new. We are seeds of hope in this soil, and may we compost these past failures, the sadness, the hatred, into rich soil that will bring about the sprouting of the world we know in our heart of hearts is possible." I missed the closing hymn. So if you could rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 95 in the gray hymnal, "There is More Love Somewhere."
Thank